Hello guys, how are you doing? Welcome to Dwellers in the Dark. Just having a bit of a wander around here at the moment, just taking a break. Just let me show you what the weather's like outside. It's a little bit horrendous. We have the sun in the sky, alright, but everything else is just white. Okay, so what I've been doing recently is predominantly ETC work. I've been remiss in doing videos. I've sent out one or two there and I've got another one or two to go. I've been working on a lot of scenery, ETC scenery. The reason being is because I want to develop up a large store so that as the years go on I can transport this store of scenery from host country to host country, which takes the pressure off a lot of the hosts. At the moment in this time I'm getting issues with hosts. I mean, Germany was a fantastic example. In fact, Germany was unfortunately a bit of a complete farce, where the German hosts were unable to supply their own scenery and I had to bring scenery in from other countries, and you know, fair due to those. Thinking that each country would get behind their hosts and reps was a miscalculation. So obviously the German guys only had their own scenery and found it quite difficult to ask others. Each country is different, each community is different, what can I say? So to make, or should I say to alleviate that problem, I've decided to start making my own. Now, I've sent a few photographs out on Facebook and I thought that this video might be the best way of showing you guys what I'm doing. Might get some of you interested in making your own scenery, might answer a few hints and tips, might sort these issues out regarding painting, etc. I don't know. I don't profess to know everything, and in fact, though my ideas of scenery to me are original, the methods for making them, developing them, processing the whole thing from start to finish, other than design work, is definitely not. And so I'm going to give two shouts out here. I'm going to give a shout out to Terrain Tutors, and I'm going to give a shout out to Luke's Apps. Two awesome channels, definitely worth a look. Will take you from basic novice up to a very, very high standard. I sit down and I take a look at their channels every now and then and pick up little bits of hints and tips on what I need to do. And with that I managed to process not only just, bear with me a second guys, not only just a box of scenery that now needs to be flocked, originality, but a second box of brand new type of scenery that I'm creating and will be making available to people. But definitely this is all going to be ETC stuff. Shout out to the guys again for the ideas of, yeah, I mean it's great, PVA glue, small thing, but massive big tub, awesome, saves some costs. I'll just take a weekender outside now and, oh sorry about this, I'll just throw on the famous footwear. Woohoo! There we go. Get these on. I know you don't need to be looking at my ugly feet, but hey John, how you doing? Cracking weather, isn't it? Right, just taking a bit of a wander out. The poor car, bit of a mess at the moment. Well, we got, yeah, maybe 3-4 inches there, whatever. Okay, so this is my, whoa, let's clean those up. This is my new hub. This is just a quick run through. I was doing an intensive video last night and well, it just got a bit too much, but over here we have some sculpture molds that I use. Just recently tried it with normal plaster down there, not great. Took Luke's Apps approach and went for sculpture mold, so that's good, but I'm also looking to make my own again based on his stuff. Terrain boxes, tools, you know, all the bits and pieces. I've got some molds going on here. These are for my new scenery, and I've got an accessory mold box going on there. Just heating up my new flock So I'm into making flock. What else we got? We got some red flock down here. Reason being is I want to try and mix and match some stuff and get that sorted. Another box of flock down here being made up, and various flocks there. So yeah, it's just a quick run through. Decided to get this place sorted out and get it ready for ETC work, painting work, whatever. As you can see, the place is a complete mess. If I'm not casting, I'm airbrushing. If I'm not airbrushing, I'm making molds. If I'm not making molds, I'm trying new aspects for hills, for flock. Then I'm doing repair jobs on the garage to keep the snow and the rain out and stuff like that. Breaking up boxes of cork. Yeah, my little additives box. Just loads of bits and pieces in here. Yeah, so just loads of stuff going on. My problem, as I'm sure some of you might find yourselves, is that I'll start doing one thing and then I'm straight on to doing something else and on to doing something else, and to be honest, it's a bit of a ball ache. Serious, it's a bit of a ball ache. I struggle to kind of get things finished as quickly as I want, but yeah, this is it. So I think I'm going to break down a few videos, and today I'm going to look at flocking. Welcome to something I'm going to be doing on flocking. So I've made up my own flock here. This is one of my first attempts. It's not great, and I can't put my finger on why this stuff here isn't the stuff I'm now producing en masse, and I just think it's a lot better quality. This is more dust here, so I need to focus on that. But what I'm doing is I'm basically going to, this is one of the bases I've already flocked up, but in comparison to some of the attachments that go with it, I think it's a little bit too sparse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more base flock, and then later on I'm going to use the highlighting flock that I've been developing. Okay, so really it's just a case of finding the spots that I want to build up a bit. Obviously this is, as I said, going to be quite a dark dusty flock, which can in a sense represent dirt, terrain, all of that sort of stuff. So I'm just really picking out some of the areas where I think this could benefit a bit more. Also, do I want to keep a lot of the smaller stones and rocks? Without the flocking, this might just look a bit too bare. So it's just a quick little vid on this. If you by chance manage to get yourself hold of one of these, then how you paint it and how you flock it, well, that's entirely your own choice, isn't it? But if you decide, like I've done, and look to keep these as bare rockish, then the amount of flock you want to put on this will be minimalistic. If you want to build this up with a lot more terrain, dirt and whatever, then the flocking that you could put on here would need to be more, obviously. So enough said, I'll just crack on with this, and when I've got all the PVA in the right place that I want it, I'll then just quickly spread on. It's not rocket science, guys. You've all seen it before. Okay, so I've literally just sprinkled this dark green. I think this is possibly maybe the darkest green I have. This is going to literally be, in a sense, the shading. I'm going to use my flocking techniques towards a more painting direction, so you know, washes and stuff like that, in a sense. So just covering up any areas of the PVA I'm noticing that it's not adhering to all of the spots. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to let that rest for a moment in time. I'll move that aside and I'll crack on to the next one. And by the time the next one is done, I should be ready to put that aside for it to dry properly. Again, I want to do a large coverage, so I just put all the spots in where I think I'll get most coverage, because as I said, I want this to be quite a green area. So this piece of terrain is both forest, hill and rocky outcrop, but the flocking on this piece to me needs to be generic to be able to take all types. So not flocking every aspect, but getting enough flock on, and hence that's why I've put on the dark flock first, because I may actually change that colour. I may change it to brown, or I may just cut it in half and I'd make one half brown and start using it as earth. Might be actually a good idea, we'll see. Another chore that I need to get into doing amongst all the other things I'm doing, like I'm waiting for bits and pieces to dry in the garage and the snow's piling up and all this sort of stuff. So, with that in mind, just highlight bits here, fill in bits here, and there we go. So I'll crack on with this, guys, and there's not much to see. It's literally just finding the spots where I best think the flock will adhere to and look good. Obviously, if you manage to get yourself a set of these somehow, I don't know how, if I'm selling them or not, then you might want to paint them differently, as I said. Because I'm trying to get these all sorted out for the ETC, which is in just 2 months' time, my approach is very generic. But away we go. So I've looked, because I've got stuff to eBay anyway. I've been looking at various postage prices and costs, and obviously it is coming across to me that good old Royal Mail is possibly the most expensive way of sending things, especially out country. So I will be looking at alternative ways. UPS or stuff like that, whichever comes across cheapest, because if I do want to start selling these stuff, I need to find a way to be able to send them abroad at a cheap enough cost, otherwise it becomes pointless. Oh, your item costs £5 and £55 to post. Reminds me of a story I got. Tim Hickson was very kind to offer me a free metal dragon, which I still have yet to paint up. Sorry about that, Tim. And I was over the moon. I said, yes, thank you very, very much. Really looking forward to that. And then he sent it, and you know, I needed to pay the postage, which is perfectly fine. Postage turned out to be something like 40 odd pounds, which I went, ouch. And then I got stung by customs, which cost I think another £19 or something. I can't recall. But yeah, that was the most expensive free model I've ever received in my entire life. Not that I expect to receive free models. I'm not definitely going down that road. A few people have been asking me recently, what about doing a Patreon page? I don't do enough videos. I'm not interested in taking your money. I'm more interested in getting my knowledge and stuff out there. And to be honest, I have very, very little to no regard for Patreon pages. Yeah, sure, a lot of people are, and that's fair due, but if we charge for everything in life, then nothing in life will ever be free, and that's wrong. So I'm going to crack on and sprinkle this stuff on. Let's just remove this. We might be able to duplicate it. Right. So that's that one. Okay, first stages, it'll start popping up when I put more stuff on that. Don't worry, guys. Right, and then cover this. Any loose stuff, it's alright, I just throw it back in the bucket here, and away we go for round 2. So that's 2 of them done now. I can put that to one side and crack on with the next one. Now, with the next one I have, and this is the modular pieces, which fit quite nicely, as you can see. Would have to take out the one that needs to be filed down a little bit. It's all of these obviously will be sorted out before I send this stuff out, but yeah, fits in nicely for that one, and fingers crossed or look bad, fits in beautifully for that one. So this is the 3 base. As I said, the fit is nice, and this is the rocky outcrop one. Now this is I've redone this base because I wasn't too happy with that mould, and I changed that to this. The main reason being, that needs to go down a bit further, but I think, there we go. The main reason I changed this one to this, I don't know if you can see, guys. Okay, that one and this one, getting PVA glue all over it, is because though this looks quite cool from the angle, really nice, as does of course this one. This is more user friendly with models being able to stand around here, whereas in this I found that the placement of models here is okay, here's okay, here's okay, but this part and this part really kind of started messing around a bit. And you have enough areas here where the models are going to, I mean, you can place models here, but on top of here. It's a usable gaming piece. It's not just a collector's piece, and I had to take that into account when I was designing it, and it works nicely. Also, the hill one, yeah, well, that's yet to be unbuilt. Anyway, I'll crack on with these guys. Hello again, guys. So I'm nearly finished my my beginning flock. I've just Spotified all of the terrain pieces. These are the last pieces left. And now I'm just going to spread out the PVA. This is straight PVA, there's no mixture of water or anything. The reason I just Spotified it is because when I move it around, it obviously thins out a bit, and the less glue, the stronger the bond will be. Goes without saying. Even though I've made these myself, I still get overly fascinated with the amount of detail I've put into these, and because this is ETC related, and because I've just done the first batch, which is 150 pieces with more projects in the go, I've got to do this as quick as possible, because as I said, this is just the first stage of flocking these. There's at least 3 to maybe 4 stages of flocking. So again, if I was to sit down and paint these pieces individually, one at a time, a set should I say, then I'd be spending a lot more time pulling out all the detail, various areas of sand, various areas of small little rocks and boulders, aspects of the rocks themselves. Now I have a bubble in that, so what I'm going to do is I can get away with pieces cutting this bubble out. Now to make it as realistic as possible. You just I can then cheat away, putting some flock in there. That will seal that up a bit, but also it'll get some grass on, and that'll give a nice effect. So even products that haven't come out as good as I wanted in the casting process, I can still, with a bit of flock and a bit of paint, make it work. And when these are on the table, they'll stand out quite nicely. Move the knife away before I accidentally stab myself with it. Again, just quite quickly thinning this PVA glue out in spots. Leave these here, and then I can turn the camera around and show you exactly the dumping of flock on all of this pieces that I've made. So just again spreading this out. I'm gonna leave you on this, guys. I'll put this on a bit of a fast forward because it's slow and boring to see the process of spreading glue around. It's like watching paint dry. So I'll speak to you in a moment. Alright, so now I'm just going to place these pieces into my makeshift flock tray and line them up there. There we go, and just a big handful of flock to just go over them. Remember, the tray is going to catch all the flock, and I'll just throw the flock back in here. You use so little flock at the end of the day, but it beats trying to scoop the stuff up after every pass. So what I do is just cover those, and in a sense let the weight of the flock on top push it down. Remember, this is just a base coat, so the end result is going to be, as I come back into camera shot, the end result is going to be just a quick run over like that, and there. Now, as I said, these are the base coats, though. They'll be popped up soon enough. Okay. Okay, so basically now it's just a case of taking these out, giving them a good tapping to dislodge any of the flock that hasn't adhered fully. Could do with a little bit more on that maybe. Some of these are looking a little bit sparse. That one could be okay. We'll see. See, maybe I just went a bit on the draconian side or the Spartan side and didn't give them a lot. So again, the amount of flock that you put on your models is entirely up to you. The end result. The thing I'm thinking about is the fact that I want to try and make sure that these are generic on any table they go on. Let me just grab another example and take a look. Yeah, it's a little bit sparser, but you know, I could get away with it. Some nice light flocking in there. We'll pull it out. I also want to try and get the rocky effect as well, so, well, you know, we'll crack on. And the next one. Yeah. Bit of a boring process, sorry guys, but you know, if I show everything start to finish, it might answer any of the questions you have. And I will say, anything that I know, I have picked up from other better terrain people, you know, the likes of trained shooters and Mel on trained shooters, in fact, and Luke on Luke's apps. There are other ones. Majority of the videos I watched in the years gone by have basically been American based, and though they're fantastic videos, I just feel that the style was not what suited me, the style of approach to their video. Whereas Luke, I find Luke very pleasant to listen to, seems a decent enough guy, and his approach is more to make the viewer feel part of his video and to give an understanding on how to do these things. So I think basically I prefer videos that have lessons involved with it, teaching some informative aspects that make it worthwhile. I mean, if I'm going to sit down and watch something for, I don't know, a quarter of an hour, half an hour, I want to make sure, I want to feel that I've learned something, whether this is learning that I will put into practice myself, or whether it's just a sense of learning something new that can be passed on in conversation or whatever at a later point. If I want to watch something, I don't know, mindless or something, well, I'll just go in and watch television. Anyway, so that's that. Okay, so just a quick scan over of the items that I've been flocking. I'm just moving the stuff out that has been bought from another company. This stuff is all my own. And it's not come out too badly, just to, you know, as I said, the base flock. I did explain that I like to do flocking, or my intention is to do flocking on a wash system where you, sorry, a highlighting system, not a wash system, my apologies. A wash system is where you put down a lighter wash and then you start gluing over with darker washes to go into the recesses and the like. More of a glazing system this is, or a highlighting system. So I'll put down a darker flock here, and in fact, though originally, let me just grab a handful of this and see if we can show it to you a bit better. Originally, I wasn't overly happy with this flock. I find it extremely dusty. If I just, you'll see how much dust is left. Now, this has caused me problems in how I wanted to approach my flocking, but in doing so, I found that it can act as a soil substitute. That dust effect can actually give you a different texture, a very good base texture. In fact, what I'm going to do later on is I'm going to take half of this stuff and I am literally going to put brown paint in, you know, pound shot brown paint. And I'm going to build that up so that it'll still maintain the dusty effect, but it'll be an earthier colour. So we'll see how that works out, and for when I do more advanced videos, tutorials on flocking, I can perhaps use that as an avenue. Again, more advanced. Who am I joking? When I look for flocking ideas, I go, again, a shout out to the likes of Luke and Mel. But with a little bit of experimentation, I can find my own line and my own way of doing things and progress. And that's the beauty of making scenery. That's the beauty of getting involved with paints and flocking, and specifically making your own. Because when you're buying stuff straight from the package, you're buying other people's perceptions, other people's ideas of how things should be. When you start messing around making up your own, well, hey, it's, you know, these things open up. So I've now got what I class as more of a soily effect here.